And, you know, when everything's going great and you're at the beach and you're traveling, you're having fun, that's not when your relationship gets stronger. It's when you're in the trenches and you're going through these hard times and you're like, okay, God, I got to help you. I can't make it through this tragedy. You got to help me here. And so over the past years, and I look back at all these calamities I've been in, and the closer I've developed this intimate relationship with the Lord. But also one thing that I've realized is that I've turned my focus on Him instead of myself. It's not about me. It's about Him. And the sooner I realized that, the better off I was. And my life began to change, and I had such an impact on my life with each calamity that I went through. And I'm still going through them. We've got all kinds of things right now that are going on in our lives. And those are the times when I get down on my knees, and I know that I cannot do it without Him. About 3 summers ago, as I told you, I kind of live on the edge. Let me show you. Why don't you show that other next slide? About 3 summers ago, I had this wild hair. I wanted to ride up the face of Aspen Mountain on a dirt bike. And it was one of those things I've always wanted to do. I know all of y'all are probably in the back of your mind going, yeah, I always want to go to Africa, go to safari. I mean, everybody has something they always want to do. Well, this was one of mine. And I thought, well, I'm not getting any younger. I better do it while I can still throw my leg over. So I found a guy in Aspen, and his name was William, and he rents motorcycles and four-wheelers. So I call William up, and nice guy. So I tell him what I want to do. So we go up to the top of Aspen Mountain, and I was on the motorcycle, and he was on the four-wheeler. And we got to the top in about 25 minutes. It was so cool. I was listening to Rocky Mountain High under my helmet. I got up there really fast. It took us about 20 minutes to get up there, and I got to the top, and I pulled off my helmet. I was like, wow, that was awesome. And he said, well, you want to keep going? And I was like, to where? There's more? And he said, well, we can go clear to Crested Butte. We can go up to Taylor Pass. And I was like, awesome. So we took off, and I saw areas of Aspen Mountain I'd never seen before. I've been going there since I was 13 years old. Beautiful meadows and trees, and it was just unbelievable. We got to a place in the road it turned real sharp, and it was straight up, and there was boulders on it. I'm not talking pea gravel, guys. I'm talking big rocks. So I took off going up this particular slope, and my front tire hit a rock, and it flipped the bike sideways, and my tire was kind of hanging over the side. And I thought, whew. And I looked down, and William was looking up at me, and he said, you want me to take it from here? I said, no, I got it. I can handle it. So I backed the motorcycle up, and I took off again, going up this rocky road. I got about 20 feet, and that motorcycle front tire hit a rock, and it flipped me back the other way. And this time, I was on an area that was so steep that my right leg wouldn't even touch the ground. And I was kind of leaning into the mountain, and I looked down, and William's leaning over his four-wheeler, and he's looking up at me, and he said, you ready for me to come take it over? He said, you want me to help you out? I said, no, I can handle it. So I backed the motorcycle up and took off again, and the third time it happened, it got my attention because it flipped me pretty good. And I looked down, and by now, William's standing on the side of his four-wheeler, and he says, do you want me to help you now? You want me to take over? I can get it up to the top for you. And I said, okay, come on up. So, great day on the motorcycle, had a blast. Well, about a month later, I'm thinking about my whole motorcycle story. And I thought, you know what? All through our lives, the Lord takes us through rocky roads, straight through them, straight up them, and you hit these boulders. And the whole time He's right behind us saying, Amy, let me help you. Can I take it from here? And our normal response is, no, God, I got it. I can handle it. I'm okay with this. I can do this. And it was just such a parallel to my life, my little motorcycle story, to what we do in our lives. And that's kind of when I thought, you know, we need to turn it over to the Lord. When we start going up those rocky roads and those paths in our lives that we try to struggle through and we try to do it ourselves, you got to let the Lord have it. And I learned that later on in the story I was going to tell you that Dr. Beebe mentioned with my kidney. About, not last Christmas, but the Christmas before, my mom calls me. And my mom and I are like this. We are tight. We talk 3 times a day. We laugh. We travel together. We have so much fun. And she married Harold about 30 years ago. So the 3 of us were really tight. And then when I married Ben, thank goodness they adore him and he adores them. And We travel together, and we have dinner together, and we laugh and cut up, and we have so much fun. So my mom calls me, and she says, honey, I need to talk to you about something. And I could tell the tone of her voice. It was serious. And I said, well, what's going on? And she said, Harold has got some really bad health issues. And she said, he needs a kidney transplant. And I didn't know anything about kidney transplants or donations or anything like that. I hadn't even heard of that at that time. And I said, well, God, where are we going to get it? I'm thinking, who's going to volunteer for the kidney? And by the end of the phone call, I said, well, Mom, maybe I could give you my kidney. I mean, I'm the youngest. I'm the healthiest. I can bounce back quicker than anybody. And she said, honey, you know what? I couldn't bear to have you and Harold in the hospital at the same time. Well, try to imagine having your husband and your favorite daughter in the hospital at the same time. So immediately I go to my computer and I make up a prayer team of about 40 or 50 people, and I send an email out and I say, I need prayer quick. We need a perfect donor for my stepdad. Please start praying for the perfect donor. So we had set the transplant operation for February 22nd, and about a month before that, I was having a really bad pain in my left arm, and y'all know what that means, heart attack. And so I didn't want to mention it to my parents because they were already kind of freaking out about the kidney thing, and Harold, visibly, he was not looking good to me, and it was just killing me. He'd lost a lot of weight, he looked weak and tired, and it was very upsetting to me that just watching him just kind of fade away like that. And so at dinner one night, Ben and I are having dinner with Mom and Harold, and I just thought, well, I'll mention it nonchalantly about the arm thing, because it was in my arm for 2 weeks, 24/7. And my mom's a great doctor. If you've got any kind of pain or anything, she's always got an antidote or a cure for it. So nonchalantly at dinner, I said, hey, Mom, I got this little pain in my left arm. And she goes, oh, my gosh, you know what that means, heart attack. I said, well, Mom, no, I mean, it's not that bad. She said, honey, please don't have a heart attack before the kidney transplant. I cannot handle all of this. So I went home that night, and I crawled into bed, and I had my Bible, and I was reading a passage, and Psalm 57:1 came up. And it says, be merciful to us, O God, be merciful to us. Yes, in the shadow of your wings, we will take refuge until this disaster has passed. And I thought, did he write that for me? Because that's how I'm feeling about now. I felt like I was in the middle of a disaster, and I laid my Bible on my chest, and I started praying out loud in my bedroom, and I said, Lord, please take this fear and this anxiety and these worries that I have and this pain in my arm, whatever this is, please take this from me and replace it with your peace and your love and your strength and your encouragement. Help me through this time. And Lord, if I'm supposed to be the donor, then I want to be in your will. I want to be where you want me. And if that's where you want me to be, then that's where I want to be. And you've got to give me a peace about it. And when I got done praying, it was like 1,000 pounds had lifted off my shoulders. The next morning I got up, and I have a chair next to my fireplace in my bedroom. I call it my prayer chair. So I was in my prayer chair, and I noticed the pain in my arm was gone. It was completely gone, never to return. And I was sitting there in that chair, and all of a sudden I felt something just come over me, and it was like it was thick in the room. Kind of like the marine layer out here. You could see it coming through the trees. I felt it coming through my bedroom. And I even looked around. I was like, what is that feeling? And then I realized I was just being saturated in peace. And all of a sudden I realized, I'm going to be the donor.